Next stage after ruchi is asakti, attachment. So we become so attached. Previously we may not have practiced Krishna consciousness out of attachment. We may have practiced Krishna consciousness out of duty. We have seen others practicing and making progress, and then we just imitating. And yes, duty is good. If we think I only chant Hare Krishna if I have this ruchi, so one day we have it, another day we don't have it. That is not very safe platform. No, at the beginning we can happily do our spiritual duties and chant Hare Krishna out of duty. Spiritual master tells me I must chant Hare Krishna, so okay, I chant Hare Krishna out of duty. That's a good thing, out of duty. Because if this duty is not there, then we are completely at the mercy of our own mind. We know that in so many material affairs, if someone does his duty, if we wouldn't do our duty, our job to our children, and so on, then it would be just totally on the mental platform. Whenever the mind feels like we do it, when he doesn't feel like we don't do it. So that is not duty. Duty is something which must to be done from the instructions of Guru and Shastra. So we do it. And then that duty will turn eventually into ruchi. Then we don't run on duty anymore. Ruchi, we run on taste. The taste, and that is also not just a fixed thing, that ruchi that is increasing. Lord Chaitanya said, Ananda Bhuti Vardhanam, an ever-increasing ocean of spiritual bliss. Everybody looks for bliss. Nobody knows where to find it. They find it in external consumption. That is not bliss. For a short time, there is a kind of resemblance of bliss, and then it turns sour. Always, 100%. Sooner or later. So, but then on that ruchi stage, taste. I mean, we can have that taste also on the anardani vritti stage, and that helps us to. Very often we see a very interesting phenomenon. It's called the free sample. We spoke about that a long time ago. Free sample. So sometimes some company, let's take one example, washing powder, could be anything, says, through the door, through the letterbox comes a free sample. Oh, that's great. Well, washing powder. Oh, I don't need to buy. It's free. So we use it and we're becoming attached to it. There's a nice smell, it makes the laundry clean, could be anything. So in Krishna consciousness, we also get a free sample early on. Even after, in the Śraddhā stage, we get a free sample. We get a bit of taste. I remember one moment, long time back, in that temple, Schloss Rettershof in Germany. It was an old castle, big staircase. In that big staircase, high, old type of chandelier and so on. There the devotees regularly had some kirtans. The temple room was just off in a side room. And one evening, the devotees who came back from Sankirtan, there were lots of devotees there, and there was some kirtan going on, and someone was showing a beautiful slideshow of the deities. And my heart is just I remember that because it was such a special event. My heart just opened up and overflowed, and so much warmness and so much, it's impossible also to describe it. So these events, and moved to tears and so on, very, very strong emotions. So these events can happen at the early stage. That's a Śraddhā stage. So Krishna gives a free sample. But that free sample will not be free forever. If he gets a free washing powder to the letterbox, at one point it comes along with a letter saying, you can buy this washing powder in the shop. Here is a coupon. And then you let from that free sample to a coupon, and then you'll have to pay the price. So in Krishna consciousness, it's also like that. If he gets that free sample, and I think most of devotees have got some kind of free sample. But at one point later on, as we carry on in our Krishna consciousness, we have to pay the price. What's that price? We have to follow the principles, all 4 of them. We have to chant Hare Krishna, our prescribed number of rounds. That's a price. And we have to engage in devotional service. We have to be hearing and chanting. That's a price. At the beginning, at the Śraddhā stage, we haven't hardly been chanting. We haven't followed even necessarily all 4 regulative principles, and still we get a free sample to give us a taste, to make us addicted to the product. So Krishna is so kind. He gives that free sample. So, but that is different than ruchi. Ruchi, that taste is a steady taste. It's just a product of nishtha, of steadiness. Then that ruchi, that is not something, a free sample. That is we could say, a hard-earned sample of all the bhajana kriya we did previously, purifying the mind, and another nivritti of getting rid of all unwanted qualities within the heart. So that is a ruchi stage. Then asakti, attachment. We become very, very much attached to Krishna consciousness. We couldn't imagine anything more important than Krishna consciousness. And our Krishna consciousness has to become like that. This is the top priority. Anything else can be given up, but not Krishna consciousness. And then after that strong attachment, bhava, then that is a preliminary stage of love of Godhead. Spiritual emotions we will experience. Not only ruchi, some taste, actually spiritual emotions. That's a very, very advanced stage, bhava, spiritual emotions, and it's just the forerunner of eventually the ripe fruit of Krishna consciousness and devotional service is prema. So prema is a ripe fruit, love of Godhead. So these are the stages, and we are somewhere in between Śraddhā and Prema. So at this stage, I would ask, because we're running a little bit long, any questions or comments? Questions, comments? Anyone? Dharm, you can type it in the chat. Rashmi, what do you say? Ben, yes, Ben. Go ahead.
So anyway, I've written a question.
Yes.
And it's saying like, what and why is Krishna's name? So what is Krishna's name? And the method, or how is God's name, or why is God's name the method, and how is it powerful enough to deliver fallen conditioned souls?
Yes, beautiful question. Good question. Huh? We know theoretically, and we have read it again and again, the name and the person is the same in spiritual reality. Material reality, that is different. The name of an object and the objects are different. If I say water, 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 still I'm thirsty. But Can we actually comprehend that? Not really, because we have no experience. All what our experience is in this material world, and whatever we have experienced from day one to wherever we are now, it always have been the name and the object is different. That's the duality of this material world. So we have to just philosophically accept Krishna is absolute, the absolute person. And in spiritual terms, there is no difference between Krishna and his name. It's the same. So not only theoretically, we can actually practically experience that. Once we chanting Hare Krishna and becoming really absorbed, it may be in a kirtan, it may be in our own japa, we get a glimpse of that is Krishna. There's reciprocation there. The emotions there. This is Krishna. This is different from chanting any material, water, water, water. So we can actually, many people will get that experience perhaps easier in a kirtan. As I said, that example in Śraddhā, when the devotee, it wasn't just that slideshow, it was a beautiful, lovely, melodious kirtan with everybody focused on chanting from their heart. Then there was an experience. That is Krishna. Yes, I can say that. That is Krishna. I don't want anything else. I just want that Krishna. So we can have experience that Krishna and his name is just the same. And if we don't have that experience, then we just accept that because Shastra and spiritual master is saying so. So with that faith what we have, we accept that and we'll realize that as we go on, as we come to Nishtha and we come to Ruchi, we'll realize that Krishna and his name is non-different. And that's actually all we have got. Everything else we're leaving behind in this material world. That is our most valuable possession. That's all we got. Krishna's name. And we don't need nothing. We don't need even beads or nothing. That name is, we just need a tongue and lips. So does that answer your question?
In a sense, it does. Yeah. In the main sense, it does.
What? Any other question? Other sense? In what sense it doesn't?
Well, when you ask, like, the question is this because this is the method, the formula. You like this for this age, Nam Sankirtan. So, what is it about Krishna's name that makes it so powerful?
Well, Krishna is all attractive. That very word, Krishna, is all attractive. So you could ask, what is so powerful of the light that the moths, the flies at night, they're just rushing into the light. They can't help it. Of course, they're rushing to their death, but we don't rush to our death. We rush to our life. So it's just so attractive. Krishna is so attractive. We have experience in this material world of attraction. Perhaps the most strongest attraction in this material world is attraction between male and female. So that's a very powerful attraction. So the attraction between Krishna And the spirit soul is 1,000,000 times more stronger. After all, we are part and parcels of the Lord. So therefore, we say, going back home to God, at home, yes. And at various times in our spiritual life, we may get that feeling, I have come home. I've come home. We want all a home. We want a place where we belong to. Anything more, Ben?
Yeah, I did just think, what does the holy name do to you? Well, I don't mean to you, but I mean in general to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
What does it actually do to them?
Well, it attracts us, it purifies our heart, it reveals our identity, it puts everything right, what is wrong in this material world. It destroys all the illusions we have built up. It gets us close to Krishna, and it gets us close to the soul, to every other living entity as well. Unity with the whole universe, so to speak.
Is a devotee, I don't know whether to speak in terms like this, but is a devotee powerful?
Yes, very powerful. Not only a devotee, it is said in Shastra, the soul has a power of 10,000 suns. That's a power in the soul. It's just an example. It's very powerful. No, it's said actually it's more powerful than 10,000 suns. Now we have 10,000 suns in the sky. One sun is already so powerful. What to speak of more than 10,000? So that is a power locked up in the soul. But this power is kind of covered over by a cloud, by the cloud of material illusion. And this is, by chanting Hare Krishna, we removing this cloud. Like the sun removing the clouds. I just saw the other day I was chanting in the park, and there were some clouds there, and it got a little bit cooler. As soon as the sun came in between the clouds, it was nice, wonderful, warm. And I looked at the sky, the clouds are moving. When is the next gap that the sun comes through? It's not like that. These clouds were actually, they disappeared. Because the sun, it became late morning. The sun was so powerful, it evaporated all the clouds. Not all, but you could clearly see these clouds were dissolved. So Krishna's holy name will dissolve our misconceptions, our clouds. It will dissolve it. And then once our misconception, once our clouds of this material illusion is dissolved, what then? Then we see actually who we are. And we see who Krishna is. And we understand what our relationship with Krishna is. It's like a mirror. Anybody else has any question? Rashmi, what about you?
I don't have a question, Prabhuji.
Any
but
comment?
That, in the translation of the verse, it said that freed from anger.
Yes.
So, just in connection to that, today I attended a Bhagavatam class on 4th canto. We are studying 4th canto about Dhruv Maharaj. So Dhruv Maharaj brother has been killed by the Yakshasas.
Yes.
So Yakshasas were the pious people, but now Dhruv Maharaj has become very angry.
Yes,
so
he
what
fought
he's
with
done
them.
is, huh?
he killed them.
Yeah, he killed not only the so he didn't only kill the one Yakshasa, he killed the whole, he was killing the entire clan. So it became so much that his grandfather, Manu.
Mm.
Manu had to intervene.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the 11th chapter, that dialogue is between Manu and Dhruva Maharaj. And Manu is explaining, his grandfather of Dhruva. So he's telling him, you must give up this anger because he is such an elevated soul. But despite that, because he was so angry, why he was angry? Because he was attached to his brother. So the basic concept, the basic problem was the attachment to his brother.
Yeah.
Then the attachment, he got killed. So now that led to anger. And he became so angry that he became deluded. He forgot that these are all spirit souls. He forgot to see the Paramatma inside those living entities. The Yakshasas also have the super soul with them, inside them. He forgot about that and he started killing them. So, so Manu is explaining to Dhruva that the Yakshasas did not kill your brother. Why are you getting angry? Yakshasas have not killed your brother. It is Kal, time, which has killed them. And who is in control of time? It's Krishna. Ultimately, the cause of all causes is Krishna. So why are you getting angry? You must drop your anger because otherwise you will get completely deluded. So I thought it just tied in with the verse about you have to be free from attachment and anger, those two things.
Thank you. That was very nice. Yes, anger is a very difficult thing to give up. And we know the fall down from the spiritual platform by contemplating the Bhagavad Gita, by contemplating the object of the senses. Once one develops attachment for them. So attachment, from attachment, lust arises, and from lust, anger arises. Because if we attached and maybe Dhruva to family and brother or us to anything else, and then that attachment is broken, or we know we should give it up, then that anger is just around the corner. Because that is, after attachment is frustrated, then anger comes. And then after anger, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, then bewilderment of memory. We become delusional. And when memory is bewildered, then intelligence is lost. When intelligence is lost, we don't know what is right and wrong anymore. And then we fall down again into the material pool. Ben.
I'm thinking about anger because sometimes I get angry, but it just comes from no reason. Can't really it's not sometimes you can't really pinpoint why. Or like, say for instance, like another person or something. It doesn't even have to be a person. It can be a concept, an idea.
Yeah.
But
actually,
you find something is unjust or unfair or something, and then you just feel angry. I mean, some people, they can disturb you, upset you, and then you just feel instantly something's happened to you, or something's not gone quite how you want it to go, or this person isn't how you like them to be, so you're just angry, I mean, in human relationships, this happens a lot.
Oh yeah, relationships, bring it out.
You know what I mean?
Oh yes, that's the best way.
I'm not seeing it. Doesn't always seem to follow a pattern that you have to. Not that you're aware of anyway. If you have to I don't have to contemplate it. It just comes,
Well, it doesn't come for no reason. Everything has a reason. We cannot see the reason, so we think for no reason it comes. No, it has a reason. It has a reason in the heart. And the reason is our attachment and our lusty desires in the heart. That's what's the reason. And this anartha nivritti stage, when we said it becomes more subtle, and we're looking into our heart. Why I have become angry? Why should I become angry? Someone called me you stupid German or something like that. Why I become angry? I'm not German, I'm not English, I'm not Indian, or whatever. So why? Yes.
But let me try to give another example. If something outside of yourself, if it doesn't fit with yourself, your ideas of how this world should be and how people should be, so it's like it goes kind of contrary to your values, your beliefs, your principles, yeah. So like say someone, they don't bathe and they smell. That can it's kind of distasteful, isn't it? So you kind of from personal experience, you can maybe get angry at someone. Why are you like this? Why do you do this? Why you sound like I know I've got a neighbor, he drinks and he smokes ganja, and I confront him so many times, about these habits, and can get angry at him sometimes because he just wants to, or doesn't see, he seems like hopeless or helpless to even help himself. It's like you can get angry at these kind of things. That's what I mean. It's like, but then I look at it further and I'm seeing that I know I don't have any control over anyone else outside myself, what they do, their habits, their proclivities, their addictions, their whatever, So ultimately, I can't do anything. Even if someone like smells, they've got really poor personal hygiene, I can't do anything about it. I'm like.
So, what's the point then of becoming angry? If we set realization that we cannot change that anyway, and if we feel something goes from outside, something goes against our values, then maybe we need to look at our values. What's our real value? But maybe we still have some values which are conditioned values. So what I mean to say really, this is an example of just going deeper and deeper and clearing out, looking what is there in the heart, what that ghee, eventually that ghee, be taking off the impurities, it will become ghee, it will become clear and nothing comes up anymore. Samir, you want to say something?
Yes, Hare Krishna, everybody. Pranams to everyone. I was just going to make a comment on that as well. That if we are coming from the perspective of the body, then we can get angry, because if we're relating ourselves to the body, then we can get angry. So if, for example, if something doesn't happen your way, we're actually looking at it from a bodily point of view rather than the spiritual side, rather than the soul. So we all do it. So, but what we're doing is we're coming from an angle of the body. So like Penny's just saying that the person, his neighbor, is disturbing him, but he's disturbing him from if he smells or if he's got bad habits, or that's disturbing Ben's body. It's disturbing his body rather than looking at it from a spiritual side of like the soul.
It offends. It offends the sense of smell.
Yeah, it offends the sense of smell.
Yes, because our sense of smell is conditioned also to a certain type of smell. And what can you imagine? You would have to live with a person like that. That is outside your home. But therefore I'm saying, if one is in a relationship, husband, wife, relationship. These things will be very clearly seen in one's heart. They're just coming up so easily. So actually, the Grihastha ashram is a very great tool for purification. If you run away from that and change partner and again, that will not help us, because we will be confronted with the same issues. If we live with another person so closely together, these issues is just like a mirror right in our face. So that is a good opportunity for making progress. That's what is meant. Grihastha ashram is meant for making spiritual progress. But Samir, your answer was great. It's because of the bodily platform, bodily conception. That's where it comes from. Let's also not forget that even great yogis have conquered the senses, have conquered the urge of sex life. But these yogis and these munis, they're becoming angry so easily. Durvasa, or you name it. The anger is for a long time there. But of course, these munis and these sages, they have been yogis. They have not been devotees. So the devotional path and these stages which we describe today, that is a guaranteed anger killer, a lust killer, and everything else. It will be dissolving our material bodily conception, 100%, in due course of time.
Yes, I think also, the attachment and everything, if we're attached to someone or something, it's via the body. We're attached to, like Dhruv was attached to his brother through the bodily concept rather than, the soul, the spiritual side. So, everything is God's will. If your brother was supposed to be killed in that way or leave his body in that way, that was the will of the Lord. So I know it's very, very easy to say this, but difficult to practice. But as you said, Prabhuji, that these processes definitely help, don't they? They really help.
Well, Manu, as Rashmi told us, Manu did some really nice preaching. Manu said, it's Kala. Don't blame the yakshas. It's Kala. It's ultimately Krishna. The time factor is doing all that. Yes, the time factor. Krishna, in the form of the time factor, is cutting short lives of so many people and is cutting short our life as well. So what can we do? To become, there's no point. We have to surrender to Krishna. We have to surrender to the forward-marching time factor. If the time factor, Krishna, as a time, if he says, okay, enough, get out of this body, okay, we'll have to surrender. There is no other way.
Yeah, on that point as well, I was going to mention that a few weeks ago or a few sessions ago about time and, about people leaving their bodies. It's just such a wonderful reminder that when everybody's going to leave their body here behind. And we really need to take advantage of
Of what? Of what we need to take advantage of.
We need to take advantage of Krishna being in our lives.
We need to take advantage of the time we have available.
Yeah.
Śrila Prabhupada says again and again, don't waste time. We don't know how much time we have available. How much time? If we have a long time, we can perfect our Krishna consciousness, but we may have a short time. So we need to really take advantage of every minute.
Yes, a very nice example from devotee as well. He gave a very nice example that we're actually driving towards the edge of a cliff, but we don't know where the edge of that cliff is. All of us are doing that. So for some of us, it might be kind of, tomorrow. For some of us, it might be another 50 years or whatever. But eventually that edge is coming. And we really, really need to take advantage of, of the human birth that we've been given. But more than that, coming into Krishna consciousness, meeting devotees, meeting Prabhupada, and through his books, it's just phenomenal that we are at this kind of level of, it's just wonderful that we have all these beautiful gifts that Prabhupada has left us. So we should really take advantage of those things.
Yeah, thank you. Where would we be without having met Srila Prabhupada? Where would we be? I think we'll stop here and chant a bit.
So, sorry, if I may, just before the chanting. Apologies, sorry. Wonderful talks. I've been listening. Gaurangaji and Ben and of course Samir and everyone. Samir, I totally agree. Yeah, this is the chance that we have. It's not often. How often can you say that you can come to this realization? And one of the things. Apologies if you can hear my son crying in the other room, which my wife's just trying to put him to sleep. But yeah. When it comes down to times when we're in a bit of a tricky situation, Krishna has given us such amazing mercy. One of the techniques that I've tried using as well is basically seeing the situation as an object, almost like pigeonholing it, almost containing it, and saying to yourself, repeating the words desire, or undesirous, something that's undesirable, and not to absorb it or identify. I think this word identification is quite important, and not to go with it either, because some people, they might not identify with it, but they suddenly make a decision. I'm going to get absorbed into it and I'm going to go along with it, but try not to do that as well. And one, of course, Krishna's strengths is illusion. So seeing a situation for what it actually is, and seeing past the illusion, you want to call it like a net or something, seeing through that net and really catching what the illusion is and what reality is, really seeing things for what they are. And in doing so, you're able to kind of capture the situation and contain it in a box or an object or something. If you visualize that object in your mind, as such, if you can appreciate that very pull of the desire or the undesirous subject matter in question, see that actually has strength in it. There is actually a pull in that. And that strength is actually Krishna's strength. And if we can remind ourselves that there is that strength there, whatever desire that's come about in our mind or undesirable, as Ben rightly mentioned about his neighbor, that's an actual strength of Krishna that is showing us. And it's indirectly, if we see it to this level, he's given us our mercy to actually remind us of him. So we're grateful. Wow, okay, he's here as well. even in the depth of this, he's even here. And if you can actually give that strength back to him as a sacrifice, as of course is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, yajna. The word yajna is mentioned several times. That's a sacrifice. If you can give that strength back to him, back to Krishna, we then surrender ourselves. And that surrendering is such a wonderful stage. And then if you were to recall the situation from the beginning again. For example, as Ben mentioned about his neighbor, it's almost as if it's lost its potency, because we can see that the strength there is ultimately Krishna's, is the divine. I'm basically repeating this process again and again. One slowly comes away from the undesirous or the desirous, of course, right? And then continuously repeating it. One of the things that was mentioned to me a while back, sorry, I can't quote much, but is that even have gone, or undesirous things have gone, they leave a little bit of a residue around, and sometimes that is known as opinion, an opinion of it. And sometimes opinion can actually go back into a desire or undesirable. But if you keep practicing this method that I've mentioned, it can slowly remove even an opinion of something. I don't know where specifically in which chapters this is mentioned, directly or indirectly in the Bhagavad Gita, or indeed any other Prabhupada's text, but I hope that what I've mentioned is helps.
Thank you. Yeah. That
Okay.
was great. It is mentioned in Shastra, if we have engaged in some sinful activity that may have been 40 years back or 50 years, it leaves a residue, a shadow for a long time in the mind, right? Even from last lifetimes, yes, but even from this lifetime. Because if we have engaged in sinful activities, these are samskaras. So very, very strong. It keeps, we may have stopped that long time ago. We giving up the bad habit, but the shadow follows us of that sinful activity for a long time in the mind, even we want to get rid of it. But eventually Krishna consciousness is so potent because it focuses our mind on Krishna. So even that shadow of that sinful activities will eventually be finished also. And yes, Krishna's illusory energy is very, very strong. Daivi esha gunamai mama maya. This divine energy is, Krishna's external energy, his illusory energy is also divine, is also Krishna's energy. He says, mama maya, that's my maya. It's difficult to overcome her. But one who has surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So that process is so powerful. Just a very single fact of truly surrendering to Krishna. Then another verse is explaining that the ocean of the material world will shrink to a size like the water contained in a calf's footprint. So all these difficult materials, that will all disappear, and it will become very easy to step over. The ocean we cannot even think of crossing without a boat. So, but to step over a little puddle in a calf's, not even in a cow's footprint, in a calf's footprint, even smaller. So that is surrendering to Krishna. That is the ultimate. It's the ultimate what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharma Parityaja. It's the ultimate instruction of the entire Gita, surrendering to the spiritual master and to Krishna. Truly. Then all our problems will be solved. So
Yeah,
thank you.
I totally agree. Yeah, and coming back to what Samir said, this is probably the only chance that we'll get as a human form to go through these stages, as you rightly mentioned, and what I've mentioned, to be conscious of overcoming all stages, whether it's anger or greed or lust or whatever it is, and that's why we should never, we should value this time. It's never going to come again.
Śrila Prabhupada made a very strong statement. He said, never ever stop chanting Hare Krishna. That's our lifeline. Never ever, whatever the circumstances are. We made so many other things may not be possible, but never give up chanting Hare Krishna. That's your lifeline. If you cut your lifeline out of whatever reasons, then you may be lost. But yes, this opportunity we have now That has come after millions of lifetimes. Huh? Somehow or other we came in that situation of coming right in front of a pure devotee, right in a time where Krishna himself was walking this planet as Lord Chaitanya only 5 generations, 500 years ago. So that somehow or other a big chance has opened up for us, and we better take advantage of that. Okay, Kirtan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Madhava Radha, Madhava Radha, Radha Madhava Radha, Madhava Radha. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha. Jaya Radha Landanishwara, Radha Landanishwara, Radha Radha Landanishwara, Radha Landanishwara, Radha. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Radhe Jaya Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinatha, Radha Gopinatha, Radhe Radha Gopinatha, Radha Gopinatha, Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radhe Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Ramana Radha, Ramana Radhe, Radha Ramana Radha, Ramana Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha, Damodara Radhe, Radha Damodara Radha, Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha, Shyam Sundar Radhe, Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jai Jaya Shri Radhe, Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jai Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram, 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 Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri 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 Govardhan. Jaya Nittai Sachishundara, Nittai Sachishundara, Nittai Sachishundara, Nittai Sachishundara. Jaya Nittai Sachishundara, Nittai Sachishundara, Nittai Sachishundara, Nittai Sachishundara. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Śrila Prabhupada. Jai Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Let us offer our most respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone, who are full of compassion to the fallen unconditioned souls. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Just one thing came to my mind. This is what we described of analytically looking into our heart. What dirty things are there? Subtle and more subtle and more subtle and more subtle. This clearing the impurities from the ghee, that is absolutely essential in Krishna consciousness. That's an essential process. You could almost say a psychological, but it's not psychological, it's much more deeper than that. So psychology will not touch that. We can, all kind of psychological methods that will not help us. It's actually clearing the dirty things from the heart while keeping the fire of chanting Hare Krishna on her. We cannot stop that fire, otherwise the dirty things will not come up. So this is an essential process in Krishna consciousness. If we are just on the platform of just doing some practical service, which is wonderful, but if we don't do that process of anardani vritti and the clearing process actively, we will not progress very much. Likewise, if we just take Krishna consciousness as on an intellectual or jnani kind of level, the same thing, we will not progress very much. So Krishna consciousness is really, as Amar so nicely described, it's a surrendering process. It's a process surrendering our heart and looking at ourselves like a mirror and doing actively clearing out. Otherwise, this anardani vritti stage will not even really start. It's not the externals that we may be following the principle. There's much, much more to it, to clearing out whatever there is on dirty things in the heart. So I just felt I need to say that. Okay, Hare Krishna.